You hear it all the time. Don't worry about being good, just start. But what if you've built your whole identity around being good? What if just 80% feels like failure? What if just starting doesn't feel simple? It feels like surrender. I started my career in film at Roger Corman's Irish studio in the late 90s. Tight deadlines, low budgets, long hours. Heaven. I was an assistant editor, thrilled to be in the cutting room. I was finally where I belonged. And at the end of one particularly grueling job, I had to prep all the files for delivery to the post-production houses. The system wouldn't batch process, so I had to do it manually, one clip at a time out of thousands. And it had to be exact. So I stayed up all night, and 16 hours later, I was still going. At one point, my supervisor, who had stayed with me to just offer support and help, told me I'd been opening and closing the same file for minutes without realizing it. I was working in a kind of waking sleep. But we got it done, and I was proud of that. Proud that I could push through, proud that I never let the quality slip, and thankful for the support I had of my supervisor and friend. But that became my identity, 110% or nothing. Craft, completion, care. That was the standard. And then years later, I wrote a short story that changed everything for me when it came to my writing and how I saw myself in the world. It came in a dream, fully formed, and I wrote it in 2 days, did hardly any edits, and a few months later it won an international competition. So, was it the beginning of something amazing, or what happened? Well, I froze. I thought, well, that was lightning in a bottle. How could I ever top that? I assumed that I had to be divinely inspired again, and if I wasn't, it meant that the next story wouldn't be good enough. And when I started it, it didn't flow, and I just stopped it and I left it there, and that fear just shut me down for months, maybe even years. And this is what I've learned since. You can break yourself trying to be brilliant. You can burn years waiting to be brilliant. But the real path, the one no one talks about, is this. You don't master the work by being brilliant. You master the work by doing it even when you don't feel brilliant. A few years ago, I committed to posting on social media every day as part of a business group I was in to grow my online presence and to also practice, showing the world who I was. Each post took me 8 to 12 hours. I treated them like, mini projects, mini films. They were mini essays. But I thought, if I'm going to show up, it has to be my very best work. And people responded brilliantly, but they also said, these are beautiful, but, they're kind of long. It's too long for Facebook, Instagram. It's too rich and detailed for a quick scroll. So I started adapting. Not dumbing down, just loosening up. Some days I'd write a how-to, some days I'd post something light, and some days I just posted something. That's when I finally understood what everyone meant by just start. It's not about lowering your standards. It's about meeting the moment, because something rough but honest will teach you more than something polished that you never finished. It took years, but I've finally learned. The first draft isn't meant to be perfect, and the first edit will be clunky, and the first post might miss, and that first script, it might stall. But that's the cost of movement. Mastery doesn't come from control, it comes from contact. Contact with the work, contact with your resistance, and contact with your own patterns. And sometimes the only way to break those patterns is to keep on making. So if you're hesitating right now, if you're waiting for that lightning bolt, if you're afraid of starting messy or soft or uncertain or, well, let me say this. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to exist. Let it be 85%. Let it be rough. Let it be a beginning. You'll get better by making, and that's the only way that anyone ever does. What's one project you've been holding back on because you were just waiting to feel ready? Drop it in the comments and tell me, what's the smallest version of that project that you could start today? And if this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. You know what to do. Okay, bye-bye.